Happy Thursday, everybody. I hope you're all staying cool. Okay, last week we had a couple of issues. People are telling me they couldn't hear the video, and I just want to make sure I'm live. Am I live, Jasper?
I'm pretty sure you're live. It says live in the top left.
Okay, so we are, well, it says live, but I don't know.
Oh,
okay,
you got a viewer.
There we are. So,
Hello, everybody.
everyone, hello, happy Thursday, and tonight we're talking about transition. Before I get into that, Friday nights for Phil. If you have a ticket already purchased, I'll see you here tomorrow night at 6:30, and yeah, the doors open at 6:30, so just try to get here a little ahead of time. So I want to talk about a topic that often comes up in my readings and with people that I meet, and it's transition. And it can be a very scary thing. It's a transition from, it can be from a job, it can be from a death, it can be from a loved one, it can be from being a caretaker, it can be from your child going to school to have an empty nest syndrome, it could be the loss of a pet, but transition normally is a very healthy thing for us. It is a requirement from the other side that we have it in our life because it helps us evolve and grow. What's the difference? Transition and change. Well, they are a little different because change can be permanent. Transition is temporary or bringing you to a new phase of your life. So it doesn't mean that it's a negative thing. It just means that the universe is bringing us into a new phase. And I often meet this when I have somebody that has been a caregiver for a long time for a parent or a spouse, and then all of a sudden the person passes. And they say, Phil, I don't know what to do with myself because for the last 10 or plus years, I've been caring for my mother, my father, whoever it may be. I have all of this free time. And one of the things that the universe often says to me is, this is the perfect time for you to self-evaluate. And self-evaluation is the biggest part of transition. It means, what do I want for myself? How can I put time into myself? The kids are out of the house. I know it causes anxiety. I have empty nest syndrome. I'm not sure what to do. But this is a perfect time of year where we say, how do I give to me? It's not about how do I give to the kids. It's not how about do I give to everyone else around me. But this is about my personal transition. And personal transition is essential because this is what evolves us and makes us grow with the other side. The other side often tries to push us into this. And we often resist it because we fear change. And I would like to keep things the way they are because I know they're stable. But I really want another job, and I want to try a new car, or I want to try or enter into a relationship after I gotten out of one. That's the transition. It's about taking self-risk, calculated ones and hopefully healthy ones. But it's about taking a risk that is simply good for you. So I remember when this topic came up for me way back in the day, where transition, and I really resisted it because I was not prepared. I didn't feel worthy. I had all of these insecurities. And my guide, Isaac, said, Phil, we have two ways to do this. We can sit here and wait for you to go into transition, or you can enter into yourself. Meaning that I could sit here for years and not evolve. The other side can't make you do that. So, but what they can do is they can urge you to try and give the courage in order to get through this. Often with transition comes anxiety. And people have written to me about, Phil, I'm extremely anxious. I'm in the house alone, or I'm changing this job, or whatever the situation may be. And anxiety is fine. And I've learned this from the other side. But it's not okay to sit there. You can't stay in anxiety, or you should not stay in anxiety, because it then feeds the negative part of what we've talked about before, is I would rather stay stuck than proceed ahead, because I rather the devil I know than the one that I don't. But sometimes taking that leap of faith is worth every single lesson that comes along with it. Sometimes they're hard, sometimes they're easy. So it just depends on what's taking place. But transition is a natural response to the universe when it says, okay, I want a new job. Okay, I would like to get married. I would like to have a child. I would like to do all of these things. The universe hears that because you're energetically sending that out. And now it's going to send it to you. It'll give you the opportunity. It's up to you if you want to take the opportunity or not, or if you want to wait and work through your fear. So often when I tell people through the help of their family, if you are going to address transition first we must address fear. Because you cannot get to the transition part if you're dealing with the fear part. And the fear is simply rooted in change. I don't want this change because I'm afraid of the unknown. But when people get through the transition, you're like, it was worth every bout of it. I'd mentioned in the write-up before that, well, the long story short was, I said to myself, as you all know, Jasper's traveling a lot lately, but he's here tonight. And, you know, I was on the mower, blah, 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 and I heard, you should go to the pound. I've never been to the pound. They said, you should go to the pound. And I'm like, I'm not going to the pound because there's just bad things there. So, and I know because I'm an animal lover, I'm like, I'm not going to the pound. 4 days, I could not get this out of my head. So I go to the pound, I go look at this animal, this dog, and I feel nothing. And there was zero connection. I know that sounds terrible. There was no connection. But I figured that she was having an off day. So let me go back again because it's a stressful environment. And I see her again and she's still very, very worked up. And I said, this is not a dog I can handle. And at that moment, I questioned myself. I'm like, why would I be here if I really felt this? And I looked down and there was this little nugget. This beautiful little thing. And the moment I looked at her eyes, I instantaneously knew she was meant for me. Instantaneously. I mean, I called Jasper and I says, we are getting a dog because I know this animal's for me. And it was a great transition for me because I'm used to having a dog in my office. You know, people have known me before. And it was something that I was looking for. And a lot of people that know me have known I've been looking for another dog. So that was my transition and it's worked out beautifully. Had I not have gone back, I would never have met her. But I had to follow through. Why was I being called to this place? It's the same thing as people who go through for colleges. They're being called to this place, but they don't know why. It may not seem like it fits their needs, but at that point they need to be there. So transition is an essential part for us to evolve through our chakras. And as we evolve through these chakras, what it does is it gives us this spiritual awareness that I don't have to fear change, but I can embrace it. And there's certain changes nobody ever wants to embrace, but unfortunately they're laid on your lap whether you like it or not. And that's the point where I tell people, you can sit in this pain, and the other side often tells me this, you can sit there, or we can work actively to transition through this. And a lot of people prefer to sit in the pain because they think it keeps them connected with whoever they've lost. But in actuality, when you transition through grief, that's when you get the most communication from the other side. So I wanted to talk about this tonight. You guys are free to ask questions. I want to talk about tonight about embracing transition and change. Coming in, it's the fall season. New things are coming into our life. And in this part, we say to ourselves each year, now's the time to embrace, or now's the time that I'm not going to evolve. And you never not want to evolve, everybody. I can't stress that to you enough. You still want to push through no matter how painful it is, because we did come here for a purpose. We did come here for our path, and we have to work our way through it. I see a hand. Go ahead, Jasper.
So I am experiencing some change in my life, but I'm kind of resistant to it. My life's good. Why change?
So I'm experiencing transition. I like how you read that. I'm experiencing transition in my life. Why change? Well, you don't have to change. That's the beauty of free will. See, when we came here to Earth, we have the choice. I can do something or not do something. If the universe is putting something in your life where it's a positive transition, or it can even be perceived negative, it's essential that it's addressed. You might keep coming up and saying, listen, this relationship isn't working out, but it's working out for the other person. And that doesn't mean that you stay in it because it's working for the other person. So I would transition out of that into something that is healthy for me, because I deserve to be happy. I deserve to have the things in my life that I want or require. I'm not talking about materialistic things. I'm talking about simply peace of mind, because that's what spiritual transition is about. It's about having clarity and peace of mind. It's about going to bed without wringing your hands. It's about going to bed without worrying if the other shoe is going to drop. So I just recently, somebody personal in my life has had a situation going on, looked like everything was going to work out at work, and then it all went. And I just simply said, look, you're in this for a reason. How you proceed ahead with this is totally up to you. You could walk away and do absolutely nothing, or you could pursue this and defend what was done to you. And that's the options of transition and free will. I can stay a victim and say, I got screwed over on this deal and walk away from it, or you can fight it and say, no, this was not meant to happen, this was not the way it was supposed to go down, and I won't be vilified. So there's many forms of transition that we have in our life, but always, it comes from the other side. Meaning that you can sit and say to yourself, I want something different, I want a new job, I want a new house. The universe will not only put these things in your life, they'll also take things away in your life to motivate you to get to the next stage. What type of transition is retirement? It's a fabulous one. So I've never met. So one of the other things that I get is, Phil, I've worked the last 30 plus years and I'm retiring. What am I doing with myself? That's the perfect time where we go deep and we start looking, who am I? What am I? Hi, Maggie. What do I want? What do I want to do? So that's in retirement. It's a really good opportunity for you to look at yourself and say, what do I do with all this knowledge that I have over the last 30 years? Do I want to volunteer? Do I want to travel? Do I want to spend more time with the kids? Do I want to just relax and read books for the next 6 months? However it may be. So, but the whole point of transition is personal. It's about sticking to your guns and giving to yourself. It is not necessarily about giving to others. So, and that's the whole difference. So if you're a teacher and you're used to giving, and now you're left with, well, what do I do with myself because I've spent my whole life giving to others? How do I figure this out? That's when we look and say, what interests me? What are my hobbies? Do I want to spend more time with my friends? Do I want to go out with my family more? However it may be, but as long as it is for self. And that's what I was taught. As long as the transition is for self. And you're all going to be like, why? Why is it for self? Because you cannot transition another person. They have to do that on their own. You can lead the horse to water, but you cannot force an individual to grow. If you're worried about your children going on the right path, your spouse, whatever it may be, I always tell everyone, keep your side of the street clean. If you were performing and you were going through the transition, then the people around you are going to follow in one form or another. But you can't make your life focused on transitioning for them. Go ahead, Jasper.
All right, Linda wants to know, okay, so what if something keeps coming up that you should do in different ways, but it seems timing is off? Does this happen to prepare you or to get you thinking in a direction?
So, Phil, things keep coming up, but the timing's off. Why is that happening? It's kind of giving you these false starts to see what you're doing. So it's preparing you for the full transition or the full change. It's getting you ready for what's coming next. So it's easing us into it. Some of us will jump right into things, and then some of us are cautious before we get into things. So obviously Phil jumps into things. So it's and then I'm like, oh, maybe I should have thought about this. But in this case, it's about the universe always prepares you. They will never put you in a situation that you're not ready for. They will not. But there will come a time where something happens in our life that's out of control for us, and we will view that as a change rather than a transition. So it all depends on the individual. Go ahead, Jasper.
So how do I support someone that I care about through a difficult transition or change?
It's a great question. One of the things that I often get is, Phil, I'm grieving, but the people around me don't understand. And one of the reasons they don't understand is because it's not the same type of grief. So unless they experience the same type of grief, you can't really relate. So you can be sympathetic, but when people are going through pain, transition, change of jobs, lost their jobs, whatever it may be, the last thing somebody really wants to be told what to do. It's about being supportive and helping them get there. If the individual is unwilling to go out and try to find a job for themselves or whatever the situation may be, you cannot help that. But what you can do is be supportive, but you can't make the person get off their ass and do something, so to speak. They have to find that within themselves. And that's why I say we go soul searching. What do I want? I wanted a way to give back to everybody and answer questions that I was unable to do because I didn't want to take up the time in people's readings. So this is why I do Facebook Live, is to be able to answer these questions that you guys send to me throughout the week. Go ahead, Jasper.
Mike wants to know, he keeps finding pennies with heads up. Is this a sign?
Yeah, so pennies from heaven, Mike, are a sign from the other side. It's often the easiest way for them to do that. And it's just their way of saying you're on a good path, you're on the right path, continue doing what you're doing. Go ahead, Jasper.
Linda says, thanks, Phil. I have been feeling bad because this keeps coming up, but I'm not ready for it, but it keeps getting closer to that change. You always help.
Oh, thank you very much.
I recently went through a transition. I'm single now, and I don't see how I'm supposed to grow from this pain.
I recently went through a transition. I'm single now, and I don't know how I'm supposed to grow for this pain. This is a big topic that often comes up in my readings is, Phil, I got divorced. It was either I wanted to be divorced or their partner wanted to be divorced. I don't know what to do with myself. This is the opportunity where you do not allow yourself to go into victim mode. You don't allow yourself to break down. You allow yourself to grieve the loss of a relationship. But if you stay there too long, it can jade you and you won't allow yourself to get into a new relationship. Take this opportunity to find out, why did it end? Why didn't things work out? And most importantly, recognize what you brought into the relationship and what the cause was. Because we always own 50%. No matter what most of the time we own 50%. But a lot of the times I'm often told, just keep your side of the street clean. That's what the other side always tells me. Go ahead, Jasper.
Corinne says, but you can help a child through the transition of a loss of their parent, as I'm doing right now. Be there for them through the grief process.
Amen. And grief has no clock. And Corinne just says that you can be there for a child who's going through a grief process. And I know what she's talking about personally. And grief has no clock. You cannot speed it up. All we can do is be supportive to the people. I have people coming in here where they've lost their brother, their sister, whoever, and 20 years may pass and it feels like 20 minutes. And again, because they go back into that memory of that trauma and they relive it over and over again. So time means nothing when it comes to somebody that you've lost. Nothing. So it's important to be understanding with people when they're going through pain. Go ahead, Jasper.
I've been at my job. Emily asks, I've been at my job for 12 years. In the past 6 months, it's turned into a totally unbearable working environment. While there, I'm very anxious. As you mentioned, the anxiety. I feel very irritable and heaviness in my chest. I've been going back and forth regarding a change, but I feel I'm at a point where I'm just about ready to start my search for a new job. I keep making excuses not to do it.
So here's what the universe is telling you, Emily. It's telling you very clearly. You don't belong there. If you go into your job on a daily basis and you're anxious, you're afraid, you're not performing, you're not being able to do it. And the other thing is too, the psychological factor that it has on us is not healthy. It won't get us anywhere. What the universe is telling you, it's saying, girl, it's time to embrace change. It's time to get into transition. It's time to send out your resume and get out of that negative environment. You don't want to go to work every day in a negative environment. It has really bad effects on the body. So I would say to you, get ready to go. Start looking. Give yourself a chance. I know you've been there 12 years and people don't want to leave that behind. But if it's causing mental, physical, emotional stress, whatever it may be, you don't belong there. This lifetime is very short, and that's the one thing that I've learned from the other side in each day that I do readings. I'm in here 6 days a week. And in these readings, I often see people who have planned ahead to be with their husbands, their wives, or whatever, their kids growing up, and someone's taken them like that. So I'm learning not to take life for granted. I'm not assuming I'm going to live for a long time because nobody really knows. So each day you have to say to yourself, is it worth it to go into this place just for a paycheck and come home and suffer? No, it's not worth it for anybody. So start looking. Go ahead, Jasper.
Can the other side force me to make a transition?
Can the other side force me to make a transition? No. The other side cannot interfere with free will, but angels can. An angel can interfere with free will because they've never been in human form, so therefore they have all of the universe's power, God's power, whatever you want to call it. Your family members cannot make you make a change like they would on earth, but they can give you every sign of why you should make the change here on earth. They're telling you this is a better solution for you. This is a better outcome for you. Embrace this, but they can't make you do it. Go ahead, Jasper.
Rita wants to know, I had a feather on my windshield. What kind of sign is this?
A feather's an often sign that's telling you you're going in the right direction, and it's also a sign that tells you that you're being protected and guided. Anytime I see feathers, I'm like, okay, I know I'm on the right path, and so it's always a positive sign. It's never a negative sign. Go ahead, Jasper.
Murphy says, I see these numbers several times a week, either on the clock, a receipt, or something else. 444, 1111.
So the 4s and the 11s are symbols of angels. Now, Phil doesn't do numerology, and the reason being is I know nothing about numerology, so I'm not even going to pretend, but I know it is the symbol of angels. And often when we see these things, it's just telling us that we're being guided and our family members are around us and we're on the right path. So, and that's important about those numbers. But if you ever look it up in numerology, it'll tell you what's going on. Go ahead. Maggie's asking a question, Jasper.
So you know how my love life is, but I've
met
met someone that I really like, although it makes me anxious, insecure, etc. Because I'm not sure if he feels the same. Is the anxiety a warning sign or a sign that I need to jump in with both feet at once? I feel like I'm getting mixed signals from spirit when I speak.
I love when Maggie brings up this question because I've been through her love life and for years. So, but Maggie, here's the thing that I want to say. Hi, Sharon. Here's the thing that I want to say about this. The anxiety is you not being in control. And because you brought this up, I can say this personally. The anxiety that you're feeling about this new relationship is you're so used to calling the shots. You're so used to being in control. You're so used to doing it. So the universe is saying, transition into let it happen. Let it unfold. Don't rush it. There's no clock on this. So I would say to you, yes, you have nothing to lose by trying this. There's nothing to lose by sitting back. So again, each person we date or each relationship we go through prepares us to meet our Jasper or whoever else it may be. I often use Jasper because I went through a lot of dates before I met Jasper. So the universe prepared me for the things that I didn't want and the things that I did want. So I would say, Maggie, go for it, and I can't wait to hear about it. Go ahead, Jasper.
Victoria just wants to say, I came home today so much more peaceful for that. I'm so grateful for you and that I found you.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad to hear that. So and thank you everybody for tuning in. I appreciate it every week. We try to pick a topic that happens here, in the office each week, and then I want to discuss it. Go ahead. Patty has a question, Jasper.
Patty says, sorry, I'm having technical difficulties. I am 1.5 years from retirement, and I'm so looking forward to it. Thank you for that, explaining that it will be a transition time to do things for me.
Amen. Retirement does not change. It's a transition for you to do the things where you are. Everyone's asking where the dog is. I'm going to get a picture of her and put it up. She's adorable. I've never had a female dog, and so this is totally new to me. But transition it's key. Like Jasper and I often talk about this. Is how are we? I don't do this 5-year plan business. I do a year. So every New Year's, I say this is what I'm working on. Just one thing, and it's not the gym or anything. Obviously, it's not the gym or anything like that. It's I pick something that I have found about myself in that previous year that I need to discuss and or address, meaning work on. So each year I choose something that I know I'm going to transition into. And for this year, it was Facebook Live, and it was also redoing the website and things like that. So these were the things I worked on. So the other side also told me, Phil, don't do this 5-year plan business because things change at any given moment, meaning that you can't plan for 5 years, but you can plan for a year ahead. This is the emotion I'm going to work on. So I've learned to not do the New Year's, I'm going to the gym business, because life catches up with you and you just don't get there. But I have learned that if there's something or a behavior or whatever it is in me or speaking my mind or whatever it is, that's what I'm going to address, and that's what I stick to. It has nothing to do with Jasper. It has nothing to do with my family. It has everything to do with me, because transition is about the individual, not the people around you. Here's the other thing. People don't like us transforming. People don't like us evolving because it makes them feel insecure. Well, you're doing better for yourself and I'm not doing it, so people tend to want to pull you down. So you have to be mindful of that also. You don't want to get into an argument with somebody about that because, again, it's not our job to evolve them. What you want to do is stay firm on your beliefs and the things that you're looking to do to move forward. Go ahead, Jasper.
What if I know I need to make a change in my life, but I'm just too frightened to make the transition?
What if I know I'm supposed to make this change into transition in my life, but I'm too fearful? Well, here's what I do know. If you're sitting in fear, then it's telling you it's time for change and transition. Because if you were comfortable in the spot you were in, you wouldn't be feeling the need for transition. You wouldn't be feeling the need for some sort of change. So it sounds like the universe brings it to you and says, hey, here's an opportunity for you, give it a whirl. And I often tell people, look, you have an opportunity, try it. You have nothing to lose. The only thing that you're going to get out of this is information, and you're going to evolve. And that's what we bring to the other side. We don't bring our bank accounts to the other side, people. We don't bring our homes or our cars. We bring information. We bring all the things that we did to evolve. So, and it's about self-evolution. It's not necessarily always about given to others. It's about how did I evolve and did I accomplish my contract? So at one time in my life, I had the opportunity for transition. I had road A, which was going to lead me down here, or road B, which was going to allow me to continue to be a medium. Everything and everyone said go the opposite direction, but my gut said, Phil, you're a medium. There's no getting around this. So I went with my gut, and my gut has never ever failed me. Your gut will never lie. Your gut is not the same as anxiety, because anxiety sits in the heart chakra. Your gut is your solar plexus right above your navel. And the moment that says no, you listen to it. No matter how little it is, you listen to your gut. Never question it. Go ahead, Jasper.
Janet says, I'm stuck in my grief and I know I have to move on, but it's so hard and I feel so sad, angry, and lonely so often. I also have a health problem that makes it harder, but I know I am working on it more than I ever have so far.
Thank you, Jennifer, for bringing that up, because being stuck in grief after we lose somebody who is close to us, and after we've gone through a traumatic event or whatever, people often say to me, Phil, it's 3 years later, why am I not better? Why am I not getting past this? And I often say, you cannot condense a lifetime into a few years to get past grief. Grief brings out multiple emotions. Grief also brings out, why did I do that? Why did I allow myself in that position? So it makes you reevaluate everything that you've ever done. So what I often tell people is, don't rush this, but also don't expect people around you to know that you're in grief, because unless you speak up, they won't know what's going on. So don't be afraid to say, listen, I'm not having a great day, my heart hurts, but I'm here and I'm working. And don't be afraid to talk to people who have lost their loved ones or their children or whatever it is. Don't isolate them. Don't avoid them in the grocery store, which happens a lot, believe it or not. So, because people don't know what to say. Don't be afraid to say, how are you holding up? That's all the person really wants. Go ahead, Jasper.
I just have a couple comments here. Carolyn says, I'm so looking forward to seeing you in Brookfield.
Oh, yes, I'm going to be in Brookfield on the 21st. Jasper and I were talking about that, right? The 21st? Yes. That's Friday, September, for St. Jude's Event, which I do every year, which is an awesome cause. And I'll be down at the Brookfield somethings on the website. And so I'm really looking forward to doing that. And for all of you people that bought tickets, thank you so much. 100% of that goes straight to the foundation. I take nothing for any event that I ever do. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all in Brookfield. Go ahead, Jasper.
Regina says, hello, Mr. Quinn. I hope to see you in person soon with my mom. Can
Yay.
you just tell her how to schedule something?
For anybody who wants to schedule a reading with me, please just go to philquinn.com and you can schedule directly. My available calendar. Oh, it's September 19th, not the 21st. So September 19th is when Phil's going to be there, which I'm directing you to the website. So if you go to philquinn.com and under my events page, it tells you everywhere, it tells you where I'm going to be. I'm sorry, I can't keep track where I'm going to be any longer, but so it'll tell you there. But the 19th is when I'm going to be in Brookfield.
It's going to be at the Brookfield Theater for the Arts.
Brookfield Theater for the Arts. You can tell I've never been there. So, and we have a great crowd, and I keep it condensed just so you know. I think we have 75 people, so, and I don't want a huge event, even though we could have sold more tickets, but I want to be able to read as much people as I possibly can. I'll stop babbling. Go ahead, Jasper.
That's all I should say.
So I want everyone to give this a chance to work on transition. Try to embrace it. Don't be afraid. I have no idea when I'm going to be down there. Someone sent us the 21st. But either way, if you go to philquinn.com, that's when I'm going to be there. But please work on personal transition. Please work on embracing the new you. Please work on embracing what's coming to you and what really you want. Don't be afraid to send it out. Joe, congratulations, by the way. So I just wanted to say thank you all. Please embrace transition. Don't be afraid of it, but it's okay to be afraid of it, but it's not okay to stay with it. Most importantly, just try. I'll see you all next Thursday. Enjoy the cooler weather tomorrow because it's going to get hot again. Thanks. Take care, guys. Love you all. Bye.